I want to talk about something controversial here because I've got two phones, the S23 Ultra and the OnePlus 11. And I think there's a lot of phone snobbery when it comes to this phone. And I'm not trying to call anybody out, but typically most people perceive OnePlus as being inferior to the Samsung Galaxy series phones. And in some ways that's true. There is a reason that this phone costs $1,199. And there's a reason that this one costs $699. But where the rubber meets the road in your day-to-day life, in the experience that you're going to get, I can tell you right now there's not a $500 price difference, and I actually really like the OnePlus 11. It's been a more exciting and fun phone for me than a complete reiteration of last year's S22 Ultra that we have in the S23 Ultra. Now, don't get me wrong, I like this phone a lot. I really like the S23 Ultra. I think it's a fantastic phone. I'm glad that I bought it. It's going to be a very, very good phone for anybody that chooses to buy it, but so will the OnePlus 11. So I want to talk about some specs real quick, and it might surprise you to hear this. I'm not going to tell you what phone this is, but I'm going to tell you the specs. So 5,000 milliamp battery, talking introductory 8 gigabytes of RAM. We're also talking about an LTPO 120 hertz screen that throttles down to a minimum of 1 hertz, so that way whenever you're looking at something stationary like the home screen or a picture that doesn't need a high refresh rate, it throttles it down and saves you some battery. We've got Dolby Atmos whenever it comes to the sound experience. We've got stereo speakers. We've got 3 cameras on the back. We've got the camera on the front. It's capable of shooting 4K. It's capable of shooting 8K. Both phones, I gave it away, but both phones are capable of shooting 4K and 8K. And it's also got a Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. You've also got 4 years of software updates and 5 years of security patches. So which phone is that? Tell me, which phone do you think that is? And we'll talk about it. It's both of them. Yes, all the baseline stuff is the same. 5,000 milliamp battery, 5,000 milliamp battery. Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. 5G, 5G. 80 watt charging, 45 watt charging. Maximum 16 gigabytes of RAM, maximum 12 gigabytes of RAM. But introductory storage, the S23 Ultra starts at 256, and the OnePlus 11 starts at 128, and it maxes out at 256. It doesn't go to 512, it doesn't go to 1 terabyte. So there's also some trade-offs there. When you look at some things that people really like that you get with the Samsung phone, the S23 Ultra, it has wireless charging, which the OnePlus 11 doesn't. However, I kind of give the OnePlus 11 a pass because it has 80 watt wired charging, and it comes with a charger in the box. Unlike this guy right here, no charger with the Samsung. You can recharge your OnePlus 11 from 0 to 100% in less than 30 minutes. You can get over half a charge in about 15 minutes. So, yeah, I really like that about this phone. Now, I get some people like the whole trickle charge thing. They like to be able to just sit their phone down on the wireless charger at work, pick it up, put it down. That's cool, but it charges pretty slow. And you still got to buy an extra charger, and you got to buy a charging brick, and you got to have an actual supported cable to work with all the charging speeds anyway. So there's a lot of stuff that frustrates me in the charging department with the Samsungs, especially when you're talking about a $1,200 phone. We're still rocking 45 watt charging. I wish that they would update that. So you do get wireless charging, you get reverse wireless charging, you get IP68 dust and water resistance. And those are big things that the OnePlus 11 doesn't have. Not really giving them a pass, but for me personally, it doesn't really break my heart and hurt my feelings that it doesn't have water resistance, IP68. I don't really take my phone around the water. I don't drop it in the water. I don't take it in the swimming pool. I don't think most people do. And there are cases and little baggies and stuff you can get if you want to do that stuff. But not making excuses, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Some people were really heartbroken about it, about not having wireless charging. I think it depends on the person. Some people really like it. Some people don't. I'm in the camp of I don't, and with the 5,000 milliamp battery and the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, the phone lasts all day anyway, better than basically any other flagship phone that Android's had before, so I don't find it that big of a deal. So those are some of the considerations. Also, you don't get video out with the USB-C on the bottom of the OnePlus 11. That's something they removed, cost-cutting, savings, whatever, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people didn't use it. You do get that with the Samsung, and also you get DeX. So big things you get with the Samsung over the OnePlus, you get DeX, you get wireless DeX, you get wireless charging, you get IP68 dust and water resistance, and you get the S Pen. And those are all nice things. When you look at the Ultra, it's basically the complete package of what we get in 2023 because, of course, there's no IR blaster, no headphone jack, there's no SD card expandable storage anymore. So all that stuff has basically gone the way of the dodo. It's extinct. It's no longer in any of the new flagship phones, basically. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, everything's pretty much on par. Both of them have the LDDR-X5 memory. They both have the UFS 4.1 storage, which is super fast storage speeds. They both have 5G. They have everything you could want. And 6.8-inch screen, 6.7-inch screen. Both of them are beautiful. I've been using both of them extensively. I got the OnePlus 11 basically about a month before it came out. Of course, well before embargo. Had to keep my lips sealed, all that stuff. But I've really enjoyed using it. It's probably my favorite OnePlus phone ever. And some folks don't like the camera setup on the back. I like it. A lot of folks do like it. And of course, it's still got the Hasselblad cooperation, so you get also the color science and some of the special camera filters and things like that, which is pretty neat. If you like taking photos, both of them work really well. I think that they're both flagship caliber. There are things you get, though, with the S23 Ultra that, yes, that extra $500 price tag kind of comes into play. Better low light photography, 200 megapixel camera, and you still got a 50 megapixel camera over here with the OnePlus 11, which is quite capable. It's 2 megapixels higher than the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max. And they both bend down, so you're taking really good shots, not having to use up a whole lot of storage space. They both record, export, and RAW, all that great stuff. They both have macro photography. The one thing that really irks me about the OnePlus 11, though, is when it comes to the camera department, the selfie camera, it has a 16 megapixel selfie camera. That's not that big of a deal. It's got more megapixels than the Samsung, but because of however OnePlus does business, it's limited to 1080p video at 30 frames per second on the front, which it's just not that great in today's day and age. And if there was one thing that I really had to complain about the OnePlus 11, I'm not a big fan of the selfie camera. I don't think it's really all that improved over the last couple of years. They really need to go back to the drawing board and put some major emphasis on the selfie camera like they've done on the primary camera on the back, because it takes some pretty competitive photos. But on the back of both cameras, you've got a regular shooter, you got the ultra wide, you got the telephoto, pretty much everything that you need, and you can take good photos with both of them. Now, the Samsung is better, and I said this in my OnePlus 11 review. When you look at the pecking order for primary cameras, it's kind of like, okay, you've got the Pixel 7, 7 Pro, top notch, and you've got kind of tied for second. I think the S23 Ultra is up there with the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. I actually like the Samsung better than that. And then you've got, whichever one of those you don't want for third. And then I think fourth place this year, very handily, I think the OnePlus 11. I think it comes in, it takes good photos. It's really hard in the year 2023 on a flagship phone to not have good camera taking capabilities. So overall, I wanted to make this video because the OnePlus 11 is a really good phone. And you're going to hear a lot of stuff saying, it's not that great, it's barely better than last year's. You don't hear the same stuff over here with the S23 Ultra. You just don't hear that. Really the only reason to get the S23 Ultra is because it has the new Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, which is basically the big reason to get this one over last year's phone. Otherwise, if you don't care, go buy a OnePlus 10. You can get it brand new for like $599 right now from OnePlus. I've seen them open box on Best Buy for under $400. OnePlus 10 Pro, fantastic phone. OnePlus 11, fantastic phone for $699. It's the smart decision in 2023 from a phone manufacturing perspective. Samsung and the rest of the smartphone industry has been getting hammered, doing so terrible over the last year. Inflation is up so high. The prices of goods are up so high. I mean, it costs a ton. It's like across the nation, it's like, what, $6 for a dozen of eggs? That's insane. I know I've talked about this in several videos, but when you're looking at paying $6 for a carton of eggs, an $1,199 phone just doesn't really seem responsible, feasible, or in the realm of possibility for a lot of households. So if you need a new top-of-the-line flagship phone, having 95% of the same experience and features in this guy, the OnePlus 11, makes a lot of sense. And that's one of the reasons I love the Pixel phone so much. The Pixel 7, Pixel 7 Pro, $599, $899. Even the Pro series undercuts what you get with the S23 Ultra. Of course, there's no S Pen, but I mean, from a video and a photography taking perspective, from a big, beautiful screen, from a nice design, it's hard to go wrong these days because they're such good phones. They're such good phones. You're not really missing out. And the day-to-day experience on this, I actually really, really enjoy the OnePlus 11. And also, their Aramid fiber case looks really good on this phone. And also, one cool thing, out of the box, not only do you get a charging brick, you also get a screen protector already installed on the phone, which you don't get with the Samsung. So this isn't trying to say the OnePlus 11 is better than the S23 Ultra. I think the S23 Ultra is a better phone. But when we're looking at like upper echelon of phones, that better than is really like a very small percentage. I could very happily use the OnePlus 11 a year, 2 years, 3 years, and now you get the extra levels of support, 4 years of operating system updates, 5-year security patches. So it makes it very viable. And of course, it's also got the mute switch slider that everybody loves so much too. So there are pros and cons to both, but here's the moral of the story. You win with either one of them. If you decide to get either one of these phones, they're fantastic. They do a great job, and they're really, really good phones. And also, the OnePlus 11 is also increased in the nighttime photography as well. Got some good photos I took with that. Go check out my OnePlus 11 review. You can see the camera shots that I took with it. It's really good. So, yes, don't feel bad if you walk into a store and someone's like, well, actually, I don't think they're on the retail stores anymore, but if you're trying to decide between buying a OnePlus 11 and an S23 Ultra, and you're like, well, am I getting as good of an experience for $500 less? Yes, you are. You're getting a flagship caliber phone. And what I like is they took the Ultra off. They took the Pro off. It's just called the OnePlus 11. I like that. Very unassuming, not trying to be over dramatic and add all these extra things that just make you think, okay, the phone's, what is a Pro phone anyway? Like, I get that Apple really tries to do their distinguishment with that, but they're both great phones. Don't let somebody try and tell you the OnePlus 11 is not a good phone or that it's lesser than. If you want the S23 Ultra, you're probably buying it because you want the 200 megapixel camera. You like the Samsung branded name. You always get Samsung. You want the S Pen. I mean, there are reasons to buy this over this. But if you're looking apples to apples, oranges to oranges, you just want to get yourself a nice flagship level smartphone. You don't want to spend a ton of money. $699 is a really good price for this. And if you want to get the 16 gig of RAM Model 256, it's $799, still $400 cheaper. So that's pretty much it. They're both great phones. Stack them up against each other. Absent the camera experience in the S Pen, I actually kind of like the OnePlus 11 in a lot of ways. It's really surprised me. I didn't expect to like it this much. Even though I did like the OnePlus 10 Pro and the 9 Pro. I've tested them and reviewed them for years. They're both great phones. You can't really lose in 2023 when it comes to the flagship smartphone race because they're all so good at this point. And OnePlus, I think, did a really good job with this phone. So that's all I got in this video. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this shines some light on this so that way you can make a nice informed decision on which brand you might want to go with if you're looking for a new phone. My alarm clock going off. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.